Let us pray. O divine Creator, as we gather in this place, our hearts and minds turn to the spirit of wisdom, which shaped this college and continues to breathe life onto this campus. Collective wisdom that was born from the gathering of knowledge from trusted mentors who have dedicated their lives to this place. We are grateful for the passion and continued commitment of this institution to equip gifted and bright leaders of today and tomorrow. For these Hendrix College exemplars we lift before you today, we give thanks. Those who embody so well the virtues of compassion, creativity, storytelling, and innovative scholarship. As they share their journeys with us, keep our minds open to new ideas, that we may grow in our understanding of the nature of all living beings and our connectedness with the world, that we may become more filled with generosity of spirit and strive to heal the hurts around us, that we may be those who speak truth through creative mediums. May these stories inspire us to value each and every human being for who she is, for who he is, reaching to the spirit that is within, knowing the power of each individual to change the world. Amen.
Good morning, and for goodness sake, sit down. Well, thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the achievements of 4 outstanding Hendrix alums. Now, those of you who are regulars at this event will have noticed that this year we are having an Odyssey Medal Convocation rather than one in honor of Founders Day. This change is in no way intended to be slighting of our actual founders or of our founder, according to social media, Jimi Hendrix. Instead, it is intended to make clear to all that today is not about some misty past almost 14 decades ago in a little town down the highway now choked with very un-Methodist and unacademic wineries. Or, for that matter, about great guitar solos, purple haze, and psychedelic blacklight posters. Of course, we are thankful for the founders and truly grateful for the generations of faculty and staff, students and alums, supporters and friends who have contributed to the growth of Hendrix College over the generations. But today, we are here to recognize the spirit and the genius of this place and this community that has long nurtured and continues to nurture individuals of character, accomplishment, and true substance. And above all, we are here to celebrate and to hear from 4 extraordinarily accomplished graduates. Folks who took that broad, rigorous, and engaged experience of the liberal arts at Hendrix and built upon it careers of distinction and lives of meaning. They are testaments to the Hendrix faculty and staff who taught and mentored them, models to the students here who are following in their footsteps, and inspirations to us all. Before we meet this year's Odyssey medalists, I am pleased to introduce the Hendrix College Choir under the direction of Dr. Andrew Morgan.
Hark, I hear the harps eternal ringing on the farther shore, as I hear those swollen waters with their deep and solemn roar. Hallelujah!
Thank you to Dr. Morgan and the Hendricks College Choir. Now, the Odyssey program is, as you all know, the heart and soul of Hendricks College today. It is the natural evolution of the college's long-standing commitment to experiential learning, going beyond the classroom, beyond the textbook, and beyond the tired old refrain, is that going to be on the test? And although today every college and university in this nation makes the claim that it offers state-of-the-art engaged learning, very few places have done it for as long or now do it anywhere near as well as we do here at Hendricks. And nothing illustrates this more clearly than the journeys of the 4 Hendricks graduates who have returned to campus this morning. Today, Hendricks College and the Board of Trustees are proud to honor the accomplishments of alumni who exemplify the ideals of Hendricks College and the Odyssey program. 3 Hendricks students who have completed Odyssey projects in the areas for which medals are being awarded have been asked to introduce our honorees. The Provost, Terry Bonebright, will introduce each student presenter. And we're very pleased today to have Mr. Paul Craig, a member of the Hendricks Board of Trustees, who will assist me in the presentation of the Odyssey medals. Mr. Craig is a 1960 physics graduate of Hendricks and received the Odyssey Medal for Professional and Leadership Development in 2004, the very first year that the medals were awarded. And he told me that when he received his medal, he did not know he was going to have to give a talk. And so that was quite a surprise. I think everyone here is prepared, right? We're all ready to go? After the medal presentation, each recipient will be asked to respond. Provost Bonebright, could you please introduce the first student?
Good morning. My introductions will be brief because each student will be talking about him or herself and how their Odyssey experiences connect them with the honoree, as well as sharing information about the alumni we are honoring today. Sydney Faubert, a junior chemistry major from Franklin, Tennessee, is our first student speaker. She will be introducing the recipient of the Odyssey Medal for Research.
Thank you, Provost Bonebright. Throughout my undergraduate years at Hendricks, I've been preparing to apply to an MD-PhD program. And whenever I talk to friends, family, or professors about the future, I typically get the question, why do I want to be a researcher? Or when did I know? Like there was this magical moment where everything just came together. And over the past 3 years, these questions have been eating at me as I struggled to find an answer. I'm a soccer player here at Hendricks. I've been playing soccer since I was 5 years old. As I look back on my soccer career, I realize that I do not know the exact moment when I fell in love with the game. I've just always known that I've wanted to play. And I have a similar experience with research. I've just always known that I wanted to spend my life in the lab. Throughout my primary education, I was always drawn to the sciences. I wanted to learn and discover more, and I would anxiously sit through all of my other classes waiting for the bell to ring so I could rush to chemistry or biology. My first true research experience was here at Hendricks in Dr. Andres Caro's lab the summer after my freshman year for an Odyssey undergraduate research credit. By studying the effect of alcohol on mice, I learned what research was and how to analyze a problem from all different angles. It was through this Odyssey project that I was prepared to move from a lab that employed 4 students to Dr. John Bird's lab, which employs 75 people during the summer. While I may not be able to tell you a specific moment when I knew that I wanted to do research, I can tell you the specific moment that I knew that I wanted to do oncology research. It was in Dr. John Bird's lab last summer. Dr. Bird graduated from Hendricks in 1987, and for the past few summers, he has invited Hendricks students to The Ohio State University to work in his lab. When I first walked up to the lab, I noticed an Arkansas flag hanging in one of the windows. Dr. Bird had put it up in his office window when Ohio State played Arkansas a few years back. Since the lab is located right behind the football stadium. And as I was sitting outside that office, waiting to meet Dr. Bird for the first time, I was worrying that I was going to get quizzed on my project just one weekend. However, Dr. Bird and I just talked about Hendricks and our experience here. As an undergraduate, Dr. Bird worked in Dr. Tom Goodwin's lab developing an anti-malaria drug. Through Dr. Goodwin's lab, Dr. Bird discovered that he enjoyed research and could make a career of it. He has taken the ideas of collaborative science that Hendricks teaches to the successful lab that he now runs today. He has authored or co-authored over 330 peer-reviewed articles in the New England Journal of Medicine, Blood, Nature, and many more publications. Dr. Bird is also the winner of this year's American Society of Hematology's William Danshek Prize for a recent outstanding contribution to the field of hematology due to his career developing novel treatments for chronic lymphocytic leukemia, especially ibrutinib. Dr. Bird not only tested ibrutinib in his lab, but he also ran the clinical trials and was involved in the FDA approval process. It is for these contributions that Dr. Bird is nominated for the Odyssey Medal for Research. President Tsutsui, I present to you John Bird, class of '87, to receive the Odyssey Medal for Research.
Have you come forward, John, please? In recognition of a professional and personal life well lived, the Hendricks Board of Trustees and Hendricks College are honored to present John C. Bird with the 2015-16 Odyssey Medal for Research and to hold him up to our students, our alumni, and the community at large as a testament to the value of engaged liberal arts and sciences education at Hendricks College.
So, I'm tearful. I thought Sydney was going to say she heard the hogs calling from my office. So I want to thank the Board of Trustees, the President, the leadership of Hendricks for this honor. At onset, I want to thank my parents, represented by my dad in the audience. Sorry. And my mother looking down from heaven, who has supported me emotionally, financially, to college and medical school. After this, I'd like to thank my wife, Laura, 2 boys who've made many sacrifices to allow me to pursue a research career. I'm glad I have a script. The beginning blocks attained at Hendricks in terms of liberal art education were also so important. Classes with professors such as Dr. Carol West, who I spotted this morning, and Jay McDaniel taught me things that I continue to apply each day. Dr. Goodwin served as a role model and also supported me in an extended project which would now be considered a very extended Odyssey project. All of this contributed to what made me pursue a research in the area of drug development for cancer. To the students, drug development starts in the laboratory, but then moves through animal and human studies. Many would call it a form of translational research. Here one works in the laboratory and brings forward things to the clinic that hopefully will help patients. It is probably the most challenging type of research because as an individual, you're typically not the best at basic or at clinical research or care. You actually have to be the communicator between the basic science and the clinician. You therefore have to work seamlessly with others. You have to take hard and fast a rule that I believe is important across all forms of life, that calling on a phrase of the former President Reagan, you can accomplish much if you don't care about who gets the credit. To those in the audience who would ask why you would consider this, I have the following answer to hopefully inspire you to pursue this area of research. If successful, you will have the opportunity to be blessed, as our team was, in developing a targeted medicine. This pill, called ibrutinib, has changed the lives of many patients. These patients with chronic lymphocytic leukemia facing death, wishing you scripts, often prioritize their life in a new way based upon their life scare. I briefly gave them a second chance. They were able to focus on important things such as God, their family, and helping others. This often led to branching benefits that positively influenced the lives of others. One patient that I was talking with the president about this morning started a factory that employs homeless veterans that ultimately provided the bulbs that currently light the city of Detroit. Another started a hospital to provide mental health care for those who need it, not just those who can afford it. Seeing this back end after 7 years of hard work on an exciting project is the most phenomenal feeling. Also, having my own clinic of CLL patients change from a treatment clinic where patients are sick to a survivorship clinic where patients are coming back and telling these stories is inspiring. While it is easy to coast in life on the code of success, one must push ourselves, as Hendricks has taught me, to the point of being uncomfortable to continue to grow. As such, my goal moving forward, that I attest to you today, is to be part of a team that continues to develop impactful drugs, but for even another more challenging disease, acute myeloid leukemia. Here, no drugs have been approved to help patients with this disease for the past 40 years. Together with others, not worrying about credit, we have been working on a new treatment paradigm that I believe hopefully will be announced soon by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society that will impact patients with this disease. Sydney, who introduced me, has already contributed to the beginning of this team's effort through her work as a summer internship in our lab. Also moving forward, I hope to be able to give forward, as I hope all of you will, to the community of Hendricks, as they have done for me in the past. Thank you.
Jackie Nwam Notubo is a senior biology major from Harare, Zimbabwe. Jackie is introducing the Odyssey Medal recipient for service to the world.
Thank you, Provost Bonebright. That was an interesting attempt of my last name. I always thought I wanted to be a doctor. Whenever I visited my uncle's practice, I would stare with envy at his white coat and imagine how he was playing a vital or even pivotal role in saving a person's life. My love for medicine was romanticized, and through the reflecting I've done on Miller Center mission trips, I now realize that my pursuit of medicine was rooted in a belief that becoming a doctor was the only way I could impact the health of my continent. Even as I geared my studies towards a medical profession, I always knew I was confining my interests and talents, that there had to be something more. Luckily, I found myself at this tiny school in Arkansas, where this thing called the Hendricks Odyssey filled in many missing pieces in my vocational story. My Service to the World Odyssey trip to Uganda in 2014 enabled me to experience the need for public health in my continent and also the successes and frustrations that come with the field. The opportunity to reinforce the community's ability to evade diseases through public health was life-changing for me. I quickly realized that I'd found that vocation the Miller Center consistently talks about. There was a need in the world, and I found deep gladness in meeting this particular one. I finally admitted to myself that becoming an MD wasn't for me, and with anxiety-ridden certainty, changed the trajectory of my studies towards public health, and I haven't looked back since. One might think it ironic that I'm here to introduce a medical doctor, but public health and service are very much part of Dr. Omar Shed's vocation. While a student at Hendricks, Dr. Shed traveled to Haiti on an Odyssey-like mission trip with the late Reverend Guthrie to a hospital run by an organization called Christian Mission of Pignon, now Promise for Haiti. Dr. Shed has since been back to Haiti many times to serve on medical and public health missions, which has culminated in his recent appointment as the president of the organization. However, his appointment has not stopped him from continuing to work on the ground in the hospital. He is currently developing a pacemaker implant program and training young Haitian doctors to perform the procedure. His impact on the lives and hearts of Haitians is testament that he is fulfilling his vocational calling in a way that I, as a current senior, can only dream to. As I contemplated on Dr. Shedd's 23 years of service, I wondered what spurred him to dedicate his life and energy to Haiti. I still don't know, but I do know that his story is proof of the value of engaged learning experiences. If it wasn't for that first mission trip, who knows how different Promise for Haiti would be, or where Dr. Shedd would quench his desire to serve. Dr. Shedd, your service work is the epitome of the Hendricks Program's mission. You engaged with the world, reflected on how to better it, and never lost your drive to humbly use your talents to serve. What a deserving candidate for this award. President Tsui, I present to you Omar Shedd, class of 1993, to receive the Odyssey Medal for service to the world.
I am really going to have to work on Jackie's name before she comes back to get her own Odyssey Medal in a few years. In recognition of a professional and personal life well lived, the Hendricks Board of Trustees and Hendricks College are honored to present Omar Shedd with the 2015-16 Odyssey Medal for service to the world, and to hold him up to our students, our alumni, and the community at large as a testament to the value of engaged liberal arts and sciences education at Hendricks College. I don't know what it is about being under the tutelage of Dr. Goodwin that makes chemistry majors become somewhat of saps as you get older. But as I get through this, I'll try to keep from getting too emotional, but bear with me. So thank you very much, the Board of Trustees, President Tsui, and thank you, Hendricks College. It's a deep honor to be here. But I really want to give credit where it's due. I'm a very blessed person. Being able to serve the people of Haiti is a true blessing. And I can only do that from the grace of my Heavenly Father and Savior, Jesus Christ. For all things I do for Him. He works through my hands for the least of these. Secondly, I must honor my wife, Kelly, my 3 children, Maxwell, Caroline, and Ashley. They have wholeheartedly supported me in the work I've been doing and sacrificed a lot of their dad and their husband. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. And lastly, my parents, Lee and Marcia Shedd. They set the ultimate example of living lives of service to others and providing me with the privilege of an exceptional education, which I did not deserve, and through no acts of my own, again, I'm truly blessed. So in the next 45 minutes I've been given, I'd like to explore with you my life's personal journey. Started at Hendricks. I came here in 1989, young whippersnapper out of Paragould, and immediately began to see the ways I could apply my life in learning through physics, chemistry, and the humanities to everyday activities. For instance, as a student, I had an all-encompassing project with some of my friends to study the saponification of hydrocarbons and the polar, nonpolar attachments that can be made in these chemicals in the local water fountain that sits just outside these doors. In other words, by applying a box of detergent, you could achieve a mountain of soap bubbles that was truly a testament to the world of chemistry in the middle of many early spring cool mornings. Interestingly, my studies in humanity and human nature also helped me realize that such a beautiful sight would frequently and almost instinctively stop the human in their tracks, dead still, just to look and admire the beauty of this simple chemical reaction laid out before them. Thank you, Dr. Goodwin, for teaching me. Unbeknownst to that onlooker, which occasionally may have been a parent visiting on Parents' Day, we Hendricks students had also studied the laws of physics, energy, applied mechanics. We learned how to use these laws, which enabled us to launch a tough polymer elastic substance injected with water
approximately 250 yards from the third floor of Martin Hall to the unsuspecting person standing at the fountain. I noticed the new science building got in the way of that. I never wrote a paper on that topic, but I think we're definitely able to contribute to the aha moment of many of our parents visiting in regards to the liberal arts experience. In all honesty, those were really fun days, but there was so much more than the fun we had at Hendrix as students. One of the very first people I had the pleasure of meeting was the late John Guthrie. He headed ministry at Hendrix. There's no better example of a man who devoted his life to helping other people. We worked together along with Dr. Goodwin on various projects in the community, including the elephant sanctuary. I actually knew the elephant skeleton, the elephant that sits inside your biology halls. What a testament to Hendrix and the relationships to the community and the experience of teaching. We worked on many projects together, and ultimately John introduced me to a small mission hospital in a town called Pillon in the northern plateau of Haiti. Little did I know at that time where it would take me. Give you a little bit of background about Haiti if you're not aware. There are 10 million people living on a small island about a fifth the size of Arkansas. Poverty is profound. It's the poorest country in our hemisphere. The average person makes about $350 a year. And after the massive earthquake just 5.5 years ago, the country lost 10,000 Haitian doctors because of their inability to compete with the flood of free health care that came into their nation. Rightfully, however, there was a lot of harm done by that as well. Now there's less than one doctor per 10,000 people in the country, and most of those doctors are mediocrely trained. So they're also currently in a drought. I just returned from Haiti 2 weeks ago. They've been experiencing very dry weather just like here, and a lot of people are starting to have to look for food and search around. People go hungry daily, and I'm afraid many more are going to be starving soon. It's impossible to conceive, isn't it? Just 1,500 miles from here, this level of poverty persists. For some reason in my heart, I've been called to do what I can to help. It may not be much, but if I can affect just one person's life to heal their body, possibly their soul, it's all worth it. The famous Scottish missionary David Livingstone said it: sympathy is no substitute for action. I was on the first team of Hendrix students that traveled to Pillon in 1992. Now we're taking a team back in 2015. How exciting is that? In all honesty, we probably get more out of these trips than we can contribute in just a week's time, but it's amazing what can be accomplished if we put our mind and hands to what God's talents have been given to us. More importantly, what's learned from the experience and how it will affect your future decisions is the true measure of the impact on our world. I've been very blessed to be able to work for Promise for Haiti. We have a 65-bed hospitals, we have 9 elementary schools, over 2,000 clean wells for water for the community. It's made a dramatic impact in this little small pocket of a very poor nation. I hope you'll take some time to learn about our mission, see how we're helping others. Maybe you can become involved at some point, or help support our promise and the cause for Promise for Haiti. You'd be amazed to see how far a dollar can stretch to help these very poor people. But sometimes the best way to understand how you can help is to come down and see it for yourself. So I invite you. Promise for Haiti invites you. The people of Pillon would love to see you, greet you, and make you a friend. You don't have to be an Odyssey medalist, a doctor, a lawyer, a preacher. You don't have to be a nuclear physicist or even a chemist. I dare say you don't even have to be a Hendrix graduate to really make a difference. You just have to make the decision to do it. Seems simple, right? It is. You may be called to go to Haiti, you may be called to go to a neighboring city, or just to help somebody in your own neighborhood. It's important thing is that you don't ignore the call. So in my closing remarks, I just would like to say, remember why you're here, who put you here. Remember who enables you to have the choices which most people in this world do not have. Reflect on what you're learning here at Hendrix. Take notice. Make wise choices. Every choice you're given can make a profound impact on all of those around you. Remember that life is not about you. It's about how you use your life to improve the lives of others and honor the one above you. Honor him, your life will be rich and full. May God bless you all. May God bless this wonderful institution we call Hendrix. Thank you.
Grace Oxley is a senior English literary study major and fine arts double major from Bryant, Arkansas. She will introduce the recipients of the Odyssey Medal for special projects.
Thank you, Provost Bunbright. When I came to college, I thought I was a photographer. Sure, I had a point-and-shoot camera and an external hard drive jam-packed with images. I also had a smartphone with thousands upon thousands of photographs saved and preserved for the future, or at least until I bought a new iPhone. It wasn't until my first class in the photo lab that I realized owning an iPhone or a smartphone does not make you a photographer. Since taking film photography at Hendrix, I have learned that part of being a fine art photographer is taking care to ensure the longevity of your images. From processing film to making enlargements, so many steps are directly related to preserving the image on the negative or on the print. Several academic disciplines are involved in this process. The humanities inform image making. The physical sciences allow images to materialize. The arts, the humanities, and the physical sciences all come together in the darkroom. The Nortons, Elizabeth and Wendell, are two alumni who have worked over 20 years in this intersection of disciplines. As fine art conservators, they're concerned with preserving images, sculptures, murals, friezes, columns, and even Civil War-era statues and Tim Burton movie puppets. When the Nortons work, they are combining a sophisticated understanding of history, chemistry, and studio practices. Their business, Norton Arts, requires the couple to utilize different ways of knowing, artistic and scientific. This interdisciplinary approach is what the Hendrix Odyssey program terms special projects. I, too, have experience working in this diverse category of engaged learning. Over the past 2 years, I have received funding to attend the Society for Photographic Education annual conference as a part of a group of students and Professor Maxine Payne. Our attendance at the conferences in Baltimore and New Orleans is considered special projects because each conference provided us with an experience that combines artistic creativity and professional and leadership development opportunities. The Nortons' practice of fine art conservation also combines professionalism, leadership, and creativity. Both Nortons share responsibilities, Elizabeth running the administrative part of their company, and Wendell working as the head conservator. A few years ago, the Arkansas Art Center hired them to assess the state of one of the museum's prize holdings, Two Women, a Cubist oil painting by Diego Rivera. Their assessment revealed the painting to be intact and ready to be loaned for an upcoming exhibition. Additionally, the report noted that the last time the painting had undergone servicing, in the 1960s, a wax relining had been applied to its back. A wax revealed to be less stable than the polymers used by conservators today. This is one of many projects the Nortons have completed in their complex and important work as conservators of fine art. President Satsui, I present to you Elizabeth Ragsdale Norton, class of 1975, and Wendell Norton, class of 1973, to receive the Odyssey Medal for special projects.
In recognition of a professional and personal life well lived, the Hendrix Board of Trustees and Hendrix College are honored to present Elizabeth Ragsdale Norton and Wendell Norton with the 2015-16 Odyssey Medal for special projects, and to hold them up to our students, our alumni, and the community at large as a testament to the value of engaged liberal arts and sciences education at Hendrix College.
This is a lot more emotional than I had planned. Thank you. Thank you, Grace, for that very thorough introduction. That's impressive. Good morning, and thank each of you for being here. This is an incredible honor for us. I wear several hats, and one of my hats is as an administrator at a private school in New York City. One day I was standing outside the college guidance office and I saw a poster and it said, "Colleges that change lives." There were little dots where these colleges belonged, and there were not a lot of dots, and in the state of Arkansas there was only one dot, and you know that was for Hendrix. I was just so proud. And today I want to tell you a little bit about how Hendrix changed my life. First, though, I need to confess to you that I did not even know about Hendrix until my best friend Joyce said one day, I think Hendrix is a pretty good school. We didn't want to follow the crowd to Fayetteville. We were not interested in sororities. We didn't think we were interested in parties. We found out later that maybe we were. So I applied to one college. I applied to Hendrix. So risky, but it's the beauty of youth. You just assume that things are going to work out, and it did. The professors at Hendrix changed my life. They mentored excellence, and they still do. This kind and brilliant community of teachers was committed to our education, to expanding our horizons. Bob McGill changed my life. He took the talent that existed in small towns all over Arkansas, from Bryant and Bauxite and Stuttgart and Bald Knob, and built a stellar choral program. He set such a high standard, and you guys lived up to it today. Thank you. He fashioned Hendrix's candlelight and carol service after the lessons and carols at King's College, Cambridge. It is one of Hendrix's most beloved and enduring traditions, as you know. That music is in me. I'm quite sure that if you could do DNA testing for music, all those carols would be in my DNA. I still sing. For 15 years, I've sung with the Oratorio Society of New York. Andrew Carnegie built Carnegie Hall for the society so that they could have a place to sing. His wife was in the group, and honey, we need a place. I've sung at Carnegie Hall and at Lincoln Center under the direction of Robert Shaw and Alan Gilbert and Kent Tridle. At Hendrix, I came to believe that music is a universal language. Now, about 10 years ago, I worked with our students filming Ice-T's Rap School. Perhaps you saw it, for MTV. Working with hip-hop pioneers like Grandmaster Caz and Ice-T, as well as the next generation, Common and Public Enemy. That's a story. It is an understatement to say that I was a fish out of water. A wonderful thing that I learned at Hendrix that served me well for my hip-hop experience. Do not disregard that which you do not understand or which is new to you. There's a story there. There is history there. And if you will take the time to understand, take the time to walk around in someone else's experience, you will build bridges and you will help build a better world. Bob Merriweather changed my life. This gentle giant of a man with a laugh that you could be heard all through the campus helped me to understand that teaching allows you to take your humanity out into the world, that teaching children to love themselves is one of the most powerful tools you can give them. And it is more fun than you could ever imagine. When I came to Hendrix, the English department had its work cut out for them. They had to teach me how to write well. Every time I'm inclined to write, I'll give you a call. Even in a casual email, I cannot do it. Because Chuck Chappell is sitting on my shoulder saying, "Really? How do you give a call to someone?" Chuck Chappell, you changed my life. And I love you for it. Warfield Teague loved the Dewey sisters. Somehow the fact that a brainy, hip Hendrix chemistry professor thought it was cool to enjoy our funny little group inspired me. And I came to see how important diversity and community were. Warfield Teague changed my life. In 1994, when Wendell, Vanessa, and I decided to return to Arkansas due to my mother's recent diagnosis of ALS, we decided to launch our fine arts conservation business in this region. Wendell has an extraordinary depth of knowledge of art history, thanks to Don Marr and Bill Hawes. He also is a great student of chemistry, and I have no idea how he does. But for 21 years, we've conserved works of art and historic artifacts and have worked to preserve historic structures and their components. The liberal arts education was a great foundation for the research and problem solving needed for conservation. We conserved Robert E. Lee's dispatch bag, the bag that he used for the surrender papers at Appomattox, and now belongs to one of his descendants. I love that the bag of a military leader was lined with green and white gingham. Wendell loved the muskrat pelts sewn into the leather sides. We conserved the artwork that Norman Rockwell first presented to the Art Students League. Rockwell left high school to pursue his passion. He was a talented artist before we knew him by his iconic magazine illustrations. As Grace said, we conserved the puppets for Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. We conserved Hendrix's Doughboy statue for the Young Wise Memorial. We conserved the Art Deco aluminum components at the federal courthouse in Baton Rouge. There we really used our problem-solving skills. Modern materials are difficult. We have restored our 19th century Ozark vernacular farmhouse in Newton County. We have conserved works by Anthony Van Dyck, Jean Dubuffet, and Jackson Pollock, to name a few. Our education taught us to see beauty in all kinds of art forms. Norton Arts was featured in AETN's Silent Storytellers, which won 3 Emmy Awards. We talked about our love of history and our passion for preserving history through the preservation of cemetery monuments. It has been and continues to be a fascinating journey. So I want to thank my friend Joyce for your loyal friendship and for getting me to Hendrix. I thank my parents who trusted me to make decisions that were right for me. Thank you, Wendell, for bringing out the creativity in me. Thank you, V and Tim, for continuing the tradition. You take this education to such a high level. Thank you to our family who are here today. And most of all, thank you, President Tsutsui, and thank you to the Board of Trustees. To receive this recognition from you is such an honor. You have dedicated yourselves to continuing to build a college that changes lives. I thank you for your vision and for your commitment. This place matters. Thank you.
Hi. Well, I tell you, it's wonderful to work with Liz because all of the things that she said, I would say, probably not in quite such an eloquent way, but she said them. So now I get to say some things about creativity. I don't know what it is today. It is such a beautiful day outside. We're in here, but there's also something going on in here that makes me think of, do some of you remember Maynard G. Krebs, the beatnik from Dobie Gillis? He's always going, I'm getting a little misty here. And all of our fellow honorees here seem to have experienced this. This is really, really an honor for us, and I thank you so much to all of us. My voice is changing or something. I don't know. It has been quite a fine creative run for Liz and I both, with much more to come. Through the years, we've had together times that we agreed that our lives were a bit unconventional. I think a lot of this started at Hendricks College because we were both from South Arkansas, Crossett and El Dorado, and at that time, things were not quite so conventional there. I don't think we started wearing bell bottoms till 10 years after. You know. But remember that, Wes? We got our bell bottoms. I think that we've both been drawn to the ideals that natural curiosity attracts into our lives. Quite naturally so. After all, Liz and I met in the architecturally gorgeous building, Trishman Hall, where we were earlier today. It was built in 1962. Vanessa let me know before we came in here today, and that was the period right before we started, 10 years before we were at Trishman. So it was such a beautiful place. It was the Cathedral of Fine Arts on Hendricks College campus at that time. It had art studios that were set up in such a wonderful way by the professors. There were 2 art professors there at the time. And, as years go by, the great thing is that, an aside here, you get a little bit older and you get to go, well, back in all 15. So we're working on that. The professors of visual arts there had the art department, and it was all in Trishman Hall. What a beautiful art studio. We affectionately called Don Marr, Dandy Don Marr, and Mr. Hawes, Professor Hawes, was Wild Bill Hawes. And we had fun over there. We had such a wonderful time. They had created an environment where an aspiring artist, such as I was, could come and basically do what we wanted to do, exploring all the creative aspects of the visual arts, have as much instruction as we wanted, but not too much. And during this period of time, I was able to grow in my love and respect for the fine arts, for visual arts specifically. I painted and sculpted day and night with abandon at the Trishman Studios. It was open 24 hours a day, and so at almost any time I could be over there working. Also at Trishman, you may know, the music department was housed, and Dr. McGill was there with the choir. It had many practice rooms and a theater. And the greatest thing was that you could hear this music coming through there as you were doing fine artwork. It was really, really a wonderful environment. There are parts of your mind that work with visual arts that are really affected in a very fine way by hearing music. And to me, it was just heaven. It was my first art studio, and I loved it. I really loved it. The Hendricks College Choir seemed like every day. I can remember now, every afternoon. And as I worked my brush strokes, I was, like I say, I was in heaven. I really loved it. Most importantly at this time, though, as far as I was concerned, was the fact that each day after practice, the beautiful Elizabeth Ragsdale would be walking by after practice, heading towards supper, and she would appear right outside the window that I was working by. As I painted, I looked for a glimpse of her, starting out, and then as time went on, I kind of moved in, you know. I know some of you students can relate to that. You're all finding your loves and loves of creativity and loves of each other and all of these wonderful things that you see unfolding before you right now in this time of your life. It's really an important time of life. And just remember it and take advantage of it. When you're in the middle of it, you know, it just seems like every day. But when you look back on it, you think, man, that was amazing, wasn't it? So as I saw Liz walking by every day, my heart turned to her and loved her. Getting misty. I just want to talk a minute, though, about creativity. You know, this occasion gave me the possibilities to wonder about creativity and how it is that I'm really curious about how it is that Hendrix College and the environment here and this experience at Hendrix, even today, so effectively facilitates the creative parts of our lives. How does this work? How is it that so many that come here to live and study so intensely for a time continue on in life, as my fellow honorees have? We are enriched and empowered by what we got here and by this creative learning experience. The dynamics of it are open to our thought processes. Just think this through with me. I believe that the observations that we may experience thinking about these questions, as we ponder these questions, the questions surrounding our creative learning, they'll be found to be quite dynamic in our lives, in the future of Hendrix and the now of Hendrix. I pose these questions with the understanding that these are not new questions here. And the very fact that this wonderful learning environment exists here at Hendrix is proof that we as a learning community, we've developed a great knowledge leading to now and where we have come from. It's just so much fun and very productive to look at something that we can see is really working like the creative environment here at Hendrix, and let our minds delve into the beauty of how it works. Through this process comes even more refinement and renewal in the process through the years to come. I enjoy studying the insights of the theoretical physicist Richard Feynman, one of my heroes, and of many, many people. He was arguably one of the greatest minds of our time. He didn't make it in this life to the millennium, but his thoughts are here with us daily. He distilled thoughts for his students and for his colleagues in his writings. I just want to take a moment and give you some of Richard Feynman's thoughts on creativity. Number one is be curious about anything. Number two, he said, be bold and try something new. Number three, very important, be playful. The pleasure should be in finding things out. Be brutally honest about what you find out. Go so deeply that you forget about anything else. Provide a solid length of time, plenty of time to do these. The research that you need, all of the things that we look at in our own disciplines, take plenty of time to do it. Aim for simplicity in our answers. And then really know what you do going through this process. I love the way Richard Feynman playfully describes the creative quest for knowledge in our lives, very simply as the pleasure of finding things out. Thank you very much to all of you. And do everything, all it is.
Congratulations to all our newest Odyssey Medal recipients, and thank you so much for your meaningful and heartfelt words here this morning. What you have accomplished in your life sets an example and a standard for us all. We'll continue to watch with great interest as your Odysseys continue and as you make a difference in the world beyond this campus. Thank you all for being here today and sharing this moment in the life of the college. Can I ask you to now please rise for the singing of the Alma Mater and remain standing for the benediction. And please remain at your seats until the platform party and the faculty have recessed.
As we go forth, guided by the Spirit, may you find contentment in an honest day's work and fulfillment in personal relationships. May you be filled with inner peace each evening and greet every morning with joy. And may you be grounded in the knowledge that you make a difference to those around you. Amen.